Welcome to my ultimate guide for starting out as a beginner in HellDivers 2 2026. They've made so many updates that it's different in 2026 than it was in 2025, etc. Diving will eliminate fire damage and will make you less likely to be hit, so learn to dive. If you're playing on PC, I suggest rebinding your keys and putting the calling in stratagems instead of the WASD to using your arrow keys on the right. I also rebind by taking stims to the side mouse button and diving to the forward side mouse button. When you first get on the ship, you go over to this section to change your weaponry, your armory, your character, etc. And you can look at the guns that you own and choose which one you're going to pick, and you have to equip it to get it to be in the slot. And from this location you can change your character, the booster, or the other things, and just go through it and examine everything and pick what you want. Then you're going to run over to the ship management section, which is over here, and you're going to look at all the stratagems that you can purchase. Stratagems are extremely important in this game, and they have a cooldown on them. So if you die and somebody calls you in to respawn at a point that's far away from where you died, you're going to have to run all the way back there and get them. Otherwise, the cooldown might be 5 minutes, and you're not going to get them for another 5 minutes, and that's a lot of time where you don't have a special gun and a backpack, etc. The money of account in this game is the yellow requisitions, where it shows at the top 2168, and then the blue super credits, that's 20, and then to the right of that is that thing that looks like a gold watch, which are medals. The fastest way to acquire the yellow money of account to buy stratagems is by doing missions, because you get a reward for requisitions from them. You also get a very limited number of medals, which you're going to use in war bonds to get better equipment. As you can see, a lot of the things that are good level stratagems aren't going to be unlocked until they're much higher level. So at level 25, you pretty much can unlock everything. When you first launch into a mission, you're going to have 4 slots that you can put stratagems in, but you're only going to have 2 free ones they give you at the beginning of the game. That's why you want to purchase more. The airstrikes, guns, and sentries are going to be very powerful at reducing the number of enemies that you're going to have to deal with. The first thing you do when you land into a mission is you look at the map as where you want to land, and if there's any red blotches around there, that's high level of enemies and they'll hit a danger, and you don't want to land there. You want to land in some place where there are no enemies around. That doesn't mean that when you land there won't be any enemies around, however. On your second mission, you can walk up to the destination table there and pick a planet and hit R and join a squad that's already doing it. There might be 1, or there might be 2 or 3 people in that squad, which would be very helpful for you. From the start, you will already own a HellDivers Mobilize war bond that's free, and you can, if you have medals, you can buy things in there. The only way to get more weapons is by buying them from the war bond. Otherwise, you'll be stuck with the starter set for the whole game. You buy them from the war bonds, and then you have a collection of different types of guns and guns that do different things. It takes a ton of medals to go through a war bond and invest everything you're going to need. On the first one, I think it's maybe 1,000 medals before you get to page 10. The other war bonds only have 3 pages, and it takes about 400 medals. I recommend only going up to page 4 in the free war bond, and then seeing if you can farm super credits so you can get democratic detonation. This is a great war bond for increasing your abilities, and it's going to take 1,000 credits, but you're going to get those credits from buying the little chip that gives you 100 on the first 5 pages, so you're already at 500, and then you're going to farm to get the rest of the super credits to get your democratic detonation. The crossbow primary and the grenade pistol secondary are really great to have. So before you head out on your mission, you want to hit escape and get to this page, and you can see the major order is going to be this, which is not going to happen very quickly. but I would always do the personal order, which in this case is successfully extract with 10 common samples, which is easy at low level, and you're going to get 15 medals for that. You're going to use those medals to buy stuff in the war bond. You have green, orange, and purple samples. So I started this farming run and I had 20 super credits and 3 medals. That's it. And I farmed with this guy for about 2 hours, and at the end of it, I had a ton. I'll show you. This is a double door. It takes 2 people pressing the button to open the door, and there's goodies inside. In fact, they're better than most of the other goodie stashes that you'll find. But anyway, you need 2 people. So the goodie stashes are going to be the shiny. See that beam of light there? You're going to go to there, and there's going to be a coffin, and you're going to open the coffin, and there'll be medals or guns or super credits. The next thing to notice is on the compass at the top, there'll be a question mark on areas where there's something, a point of interest to come to. So you see that question mark on the left? I'm going to go to that question mark, and there'll be something there. In this case, right here to the left, there's a hell bomb that was left over. That was that point of interest. So it's not usable for getting anything. These buildings that are blue and white, you always want to look around them because there'll be a container in the bottom most of the time. And you're going to need an explosive device to open that container. So I'm using a grenade here because I don't have anything other than that for explosive. The host here is G1, the orange. And then there's R, the purple, and then there's me, that's the blue, G2. So from here I can see 2 shinies, the one on the left and the one on the right. I'm running to the one on the right because it's the closest. And you'll see that there'll be like a coffin kind of pod that and you interact with it and you get whatever's inside. In this case, it's a medal. You always want to open your map and look where you are and circle around things. In this case, everybody got brought back to the ship prematurely. If you don't do the main mission, you'll be brought back to the ship. You can come back to the ship with squad, and it saves you about 4 minutes. So everybody gets the HellDivers Mobilize War Bond for free. You don't have to buy it for 1,000. So here I am taking my 129 medals and buying stuff. And you see I got 100 super credits just paying 1 medal. Then I'm going to buy the gun, and I'm going to buy other things because you have to spend some of your medals in order to get to the next page in general. There are a lot of benefits from getting the materials that you can get in the war bonds because you can get better guns, guns that are better for specific purposes, like the breaker shotgun. This thing is great. The Redeemer SMG is way better than the standard secondary pistol that you get. So I've got all the way up to page 4, and now I can get the breaker shotgun, which, as I said, is a great shotgun to have. I've also purchased 4 of the little chips there that give you 100 super credits. So now my super credits are at 940. 60 more, and I can buy another war bond. And since I acquired about 2,800 yellow requisition credits, I can buy some stratagems. So learning how to become a more successful HellDiver, the only thing you can do is acquire all the war bonds as early as possible and get the items that are going to help you become more overpowered. But more importantly, you're going to have to play the game and learn how to complete the missions and how to deal with tactically not getting involved with shootouts with the patrols and whatnot, and work as a team with the others that are with you. 4 people are always going to be able to beat 3 people or 2 people, and if you can solo it, then you really are great at the game. So when you start and go out on a mission, you have 3 factions. You have the automatons, which are called bots, and they're in the red on the left side of the map. Then you have the terminids, which are bugs, on the yellow right side of the map. And then you have the Illuminate, which are the squids, in the purple bottom side of the map. So when you start your mission, you have 4 slots you can put stratagems in, and here I'm showing all the stratagems I have available to me to put into those spots, and I make my choices. You can replace ones that you've already chosen, if you like. And then you can also go in and look at your weapons and armor that you're wearing, and you can change them before you start your mission. And if you leave the stratagem section and go into equipment, you can change your loadout. You can change the clothing you're wearing and the adds that it has, and you can change your primary and secondary guns. So all of the clothing that is armor and has passive boosts, and the guns that I possess in here, except what I was given at the start of the game, are from the war bonds. So I have a large selection of different choices to make as to what I'm going to bring. After joining other squads and playing with them, I suggest that you learn how to play the game better by soloing some missions on very low difficulty. Like you could go out on trivial, easy, medium, and you'll get a chance to see how you deal with being attacked by hordes. And then to completely complete a mission, you'll have the main objectives, which is all you need to extract, but then you'll have the side objectives. They'll always be bug nests where they spawn bugs, forts where they spawn bots, and the ships that spawn squid. Here's an example of me at level 11 playing on hard difficulty, that's level 5, against bugs where we have to kill all the bugs and get up to 100%. This is typical of the missions in that you get dropped down onto the planet and you don't have 2 seconds to throw out any equipment that you want and before you start getting attacked immediately. I generally bring all sentries to these missions, and this sentry is the HMG emplacement, and it just mows down everything. It's a heavy machine gun, heavy pen machine gun. As you can see, my partner there has decided to bring a mech, which is smart. You can't get a mech until you're level 25, however. And just look how sneaky this charger is. He comes around the corner, not from a long ways off, but right in front of me, goes right up to the machine and breaks it. The fact that he dies almost immediately shows just how powerful the HMG is. So now I'm calling in my stalwart, which is a devastating killer of bugs and bug hordes. And I have a coyote, but the coyote is not going to do as much as the stalwart will do. Now I'm going to toss a gas grenade in there, hoping that it'll disrupt them. My buddy here is pretty smart, and he brought a hover pack so he could get away from them. And I have to thank him, because he just called in reinforcements for me. And his favorite get-out-of-jail-free card, the orbital laser. Now, obviously, if we had 2 more guys, this would be a lot easier. But with 2 people taking on the hordes of, look at all the bug breaches that are going on. These missions are always a ton of fun. So we did pretty well here. I died 2 times and he died once. So my next advice is learning how to play the game by doing it solo. Solo is much more difficult than playing with other squad members because maybe they're going to bring rocket launchers and you don't have them or whatever, but you still have to deal with what's in front of you. So here I am at level 14 doing this bug mission, and you can see in the upper right corner it says activate oil pumps. That's the mission. If you do any of the mission items, then you have to extract. Extraction is going to be a problem always. So you're going to have to learn how to swap your guns quickly, how to know when the magazines are empty and you need to reload them, to open your map and become situationally aware of where the missions are, and to tag your map so you can go to the next mission. So here you can see I'm going to drag a pin and put it on a red blotch. The red blotch indicates a concentration of bugs, and it's going to be a bug nest. When you look at the top of the screen, you have your compass, and on your compass is that orange dot that I did when I marked the map, so it shows you where you're going to be running to. If you can't solo a level 3 mission, then you're not ready to join others and play with them on level 4 or 5 missions, because you're going to die a lot and you're going to use up all of their revives. If you can solo a level and only have like 2 deaths, you're doing pretty good. I had 0 deaths on this one, so it's like I guess I could do challenging. The other thing is, one challenging is not going to be like the other challenging. Some are very, very difficult, and some are a cakewalk. But you will hone your skills if you go into doing solo missions, and you'll learn a lot about how to complete the objectives and where to go and just general gameplay. So have fun playing the game, and I hope this guide has been of some help in your experience playing HellDivers.